South Africa Tzu Chi volunteers traveled to Malawi to assess the local situations by visiting remote villages. Local Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at the scene of the morning fire to care for the affected individuals and firefighters. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Lori Chen. Thank you for joining us. South Africa Tzu Chi volunteers are conducting their 8th African country cross-border visit. In October of last year, 27-year-old Michael was deeply touched by the Foundation's missions. He vowed to go back to his community to promote the same things. That's why in August of this year, South Africa Tzu Chi volunteers made a special trip to Malawi to assess the local situations and also to mentor Michael in conducting proper home visits in each one of the remote villages. South Africa Tzu Chi volunteers headed to Malawi, visiting its 8th African country. It was the first time visiting Grandma Elina's, and they immediately hit it off.
If those two were here, we were going to start cleaning, showing what we're doing. Because we try to help him. I know when you're very poor, you lost the hope, and you stay anyhow. But today we want to bring the hope. We were going to start cleaning with her, showing her how, no matter how you live, the place must be clean.
In the Makiniri community, all the villagers and children were all excited to be out and about. Even though the grandma sleeps on the floor every day, she's full of joy.
I feel very happy. It's such a surprise that you guys are here. I'm very grateful.
Local Malawi Tzu Chi volunteers, a pair of brothers, brought the South African volunteers to visit another remote village, Kalamba. Including the village head and some local residents, they followed the Tzu Chi volunteers to care for the poor families and deliver corn flour and blessing cards to them. The village head was the most excited.
You guys have traveled from very far. South Africa, it's like 2,000 kilometers. Taiwan is something like 15,000 kilometers. That's a very long distance just to come here to extend your love.
The 27-year-old local volunteer who met the South Africa Tzu Chi volunteers in October 2017 vowed to actively transform the community with great love. Staying in South Africa, Ladysmith volunteers have gone to the remote villages to conduct the annual winter aid distributions. As they distributed rice to families in need, many recipients expressed their gratitude by dancing and singing. What a festive atmosphere!
100. 100-year Hadabi still looks physically strong.
These 2 bags of rice really helps me a lot. My family of more than 10 people no longer have to go hungry.
She dances happily and screams in a traditional way to express her gratitude. Ladysmith volunteers have come to a remote village, Amlamayo, to distribute 800 bags of rice to 400 households. Since it is difficult to find jobs locally, most residents rely on government subsidies. 74-year-old grandma Thandajao, whose 3 sons passed away, is now staying with her 14 grandchildren and daughter. She said the 2 bags of rice is very important.
I can only rely on the rice to survive. The 2 bags of rice will sustain us for 2 months.
At another remote district in Escort, local resident Sandali is playing the keyboard and singing at the aid distribution site. He sings to thank Tzu Chi volunteers for giving out rice every year. After the distribution, the volunteers serve hot food. The ingredients for the food and soup were donated and collected by several volunteers.
3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we collect people and we cook and give it to them.
Learning about how to prepare food, Ladysmith volunteers are deeply touched. Therefore, they decided to leave 6 bags of rice for them to feed the hungry and spread great love.
Turning our cameras to Laos, many people's first impression is poverty. Over the years, it has gradually reformed and earned a lot of foreign exchange by enriching mineral resources and using hydropower. According to the Foreign Trade Association, in the past 10 years, the average economic growth rate of the country has risen steadily at a rate of around 7%. What an improvement! Laos is a country that consists of an area of 236,800 square kilometers. It is 6.5 times larger than Taiwan, with a population of 7.12 million. It is sparsely populated and surrounded by China, Vietnam, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Thailand. Hello there. How much is this? 35 kip? Thank you. Here lies a typical grocery store in Laos. The official language is Lao, but like I just did earlier, I was mixing between Thai and Lao. Both works here. It's because Thailand is just right next door, and they have a very close relationship. You can even use Thai baht as well.
The two languages are very similar. One is able to easily understand.
Almost every household can see Thai TV programs. Most of them can answer back in Thai. The country is very behind in the area of development. It is the country with the least number of Taiwanese businesses.
When I first came here, I was very uncomfortable. I always thought, why does it take so long to do everything? There's no efficiency at all.
The average salary is extremely low. A university graduate's monthly pay ranges from $150 to $250. There is a huge gap between the income brackets, with 70% of the population relying on farming to make ends meet. In the countryside, there are more than cattle than cars.
Their knowledge on farming is the more traditional type. There is no such thing as advancing technologically. I hope to introduce some experts from Taiwan to come here and teach them more technical skills.
A typical meal would be using your hands and grabbing glutinous rice with sauce on it. Farming requires hard labor, so it's not a surprise to have multiple children. A 36-year-old woman had 10 consecutive births. The agriculture industry is the main source of GDP. In recent years, the economic growth of the country has also been boosted by mineral resources, timber, textile and garments, tourism services, and hydroelectric power domains. The endless Mekong River is the lifeline of Laos. It brings an abundant water source for the country. According to the International Hydropower Association, the total value of electricity exported from January to September of last year reached around $975 million.
By 2020, we're expecting to have built a total of 100 reservoirs. We're shooting for the title of Battery Kingdom.
The amount of electricity generated can be converted into high foreign exporting income, but it must also face environmental protection and ecological conservation concerns. The country is still largely conservative, but gradually liberating due to more and more foreign entities entering. Many say Laos is a forgotten country. However, it has been trying to actively climb out of poverty and hoping to be seen by the world. People who love baseball in Taiwan will know the name Xu Senming, who was a famous baseball coach that passed away too early. He has started a youth program back in his hometown in Meinong, but never got to see it fully develop. Therefore, his widow established an association in his name and visited schools to teach proper nutritional values in order to care for the young athletes.
This is Liu Yo Xiao, a Meinong native who is also a documentary film director.
The story that I'm telling here is that the children here are mainly raised by their grandparents. This means that coaches also act as babysitters.
有时候就是两种角色嘛，在球场上就是严父啊，在私底下就是慈母。
Liu Yuxiao spent 3 months making this documentary about the Meinong Elementary School baseball team. Through his lens, we see all the joys and sorrows of their life training for baseball.
I've gone throughout the countryside. I've been with the older children, and what happens in rural areas is that older children lead the younger children, and if baseball can bring them back, this is quite good.
Liu Yushao is a graduate from National Taiwan Sport University. He has a passion for sports as well as his hometown. Even if he has already completed his documentary, he will still return to the baseball field to record this team.
If I have time, I will come back to see them. This is really incredible place. What we see is a lot of fatherly love.
但是只有因为运动场上受伤的，包含是自己可能私底下发烧啊、生病啊，或是哪里，老师就会求救啊。教练呢生病了孩子怎么办？应该会玩到大概50岁，甚至可能他身体的能力上还可以的话，就玩到60岁嘛。对啊。
7 years ago, Xu Senming's 10-year plan for Meinong gave these children some very special memories. There's also a silent group of supporters behind them, caring for the fate of these children.
There are many single parents families here. Back then, Coach Xu's real goal was to help these single parents families. I remember she said that children who play baseball are also learning to study and learn profession.
At the same time as the 10-year plan was implemented, yet another action was quietly being undertaken. This teacher goes by the nickname Mrs. Xu Senming. After Xu passed away, she established the Xu Senming Baseball Development Association. Regularly visits township villages to care about the health of these young players.
I'm his spouse. I have an obligation to help him fulfill his dream.
Xie Rongyao has turned her husband's love into her selfless devotion. It's not just a clinic, but a dietitian is joining them, advocating the right concepts about nutrition.
要跟小朋友还有教练们来分享这个课，赢在起跑点。小朋友知道蛋白质是什么吗？知道。
It is important for them to be healthy and happy when they play baseball. Nutritional support is the key to their sports career, letting them play longer.
要让你们知道说，哎，你会吃到卤蛋，好，那就这个卤蛋，就这样摄取，好不好？然后现在知道说。
Now I know that we can add protein by eating eggs. Eating bananas can help reduce muscle fatigue.
The Xu Senming Baseball Development Association includes professional baseball players like Tang Tai-san, who volunteers along with his wife. Though it has struggled with funding over the years, his widow insists upon being committed to this cause.
If baseball develops strong roots, then development in the future will be like a tree and grow tall and straight. This is the same for these children, and if they get a stable background in youth, they won't become bad or deviate.
Starting from Meinong baseball, these children are learning important lessons such as nutrition and discipline. This is due to Xu Senming's contribution to this community. He wanted to give back to his hometown. These caring mothers and coaches are cultivating young gentlemen. They're devoted to this community, and it's much more than teaching baseball. It's about education and fostering the growth of these young children.
An early morning fire broke out in a sheet metal factory on September 3rd in Luzhou. Tzu Chi volunteers quickly arrived on the scene to deliver hot meals for the affected individuals and the firefighters. It took around 200 firefighters and nearly an hour to put out the fire. Luckily, no one was harmed.
A fire broke out in a sheet metal factory and cars parked outside also caught fire. Luckily, the fire was put out after an hour, but the factory and about 10 motorcycles inside were all burned.
When we arrived, we saw that the entire factory is on fire. The owner said that there are about 15 motorcycles inside.
I wanted to rush here to save my friend's motorcycle, but it's too late.
Firefighters continue spraying water inside the factory to prevent the fire from spreading. 5 factory spaces were impacted in total. Some factory staff tried to break in, but was unsuccessful.
Firefighters won't allow us to break in the door, but we still tried. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go in because it's all on fire. The fire started back there. We are not sure where exactly, but probably from the parking lot.
Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to show care as soon as they heard about the fire. They prepared hundreds of breakfast and water for the exhausted firefighters.
We saw smoke around 7 a.m. Many firefighters probably just woke up without having any breakfast, so at least we can provide them with some food.
The fire destroyed the entire 900 square meter factory. Firefighters are investigating the cause. Luckily, no one was hurt.
Tzu Chi continues to care for flood-affected residents in southern Taiwan. Besides distributing hot meals to flood survivors, free clinics and cleanup services are in full effect. With the love and compassion from the volunteers, residents will be able to get back on their feet in no time.
In front of the temple in Zhangtang village, Darling Tzu Chi hospital staff has set up a medical station to serve residents. After Dr. Hou Zhonghong treats the wounds for a senior citizen, he immediately goes along with volunteers to visit flood-affected residents.
In fact, many of the affected residents are very strong and self-reliant. However, if doctors can provide them with some spiritual support, then the patients will recover much better and faster than usual.
The heavy rain in southern Taiwan caused Jiayi residents to suffer from floods for more than a week. On this day, they finally saw the sunshine and received blessings from Tzu Chi volunteers as well. With the guidance of the Weitan village chief, the volunteers bring aid to care for the affected residents. While listening to the seniors recalling the days of the flood, the volunteers try to comfort them.
The flood was caused by the structural problem of the embankment. That's why our village was severely flooded. I want to thank Tzu Chi and many other people for coming to our village to care for us. I feel very grateful.
Volunteers go door to door to ease the anxious minds of the residents, hoping to help them get back on their feet as soon as possible.
The principal of the Tainan Tzu Chi Senior High School led a team of 20 faculty and alumni to conduct home visits of flood-affected residents in Xuejia. The experience deeply inspired many teachers, and they plan to share this precious lesson with their students.
The principal of Tainan Tzu Chi Senior High School, Zhang Jingkun, led 20 faculty members to conduct home visits in Xuejia district. The principal felt for these residents who are still cleaning their homeland after the flood, so he took the action of visiting them. I read a letter from Dharma Master Zheng Yan for this illiterate senior.
I hope that people who are well and sound can learn that many people are suffering in disaster areas. And through this opportunity, we can show our support and bring them Dharma Master Zheng Yan's blessings.
The team includes faculty members and alumni from Tainan Tzu Chi Senior High School. They visited over 100 families in Meifeng Borough.
I will seize any opportunity to do good deeds, even if my power is limited. All of these brothers and sisters share the same goal, which is hoping that these flood survivors can know that many people care about them.
We often play mini videos about learning from others suffering for students in school, but from this experience today, I've learned a precious lesson by caring for the needy.
The experience has allowed teachers to practice what they preach in school, and they will also bring the lesson they've learned to the classroom so that students can follow their example and give back to society in the future.
Tzu Chi's medical volunteers continue to reach out to remote areas in Tainan. Besides providing free medical services for the flood survivors, the medical team also went to a local recycling station. They wanted to safeguard the health of the elderly recycling volunteers.
Receiving cupping and acupuncture therapy, most of the senior citizens in the disaster area have muscle ache and pain. However, after the floodwater receded, they have to clean their homes, which worsens their condition. Thankfully, traditional Chinese medicine doctors have come just in time.
When the floodwater went to my home, there was only me in the house. My children came back on Saturday to help with the cleaning. Now we haven't yet cleaned our home.
Besides giving a massage to the seniors, the volunteers also teach them how to do rehabilitation on their own.
Coming here, I want to see whether they are experiencing any inconvenience. I also want to understand the needs of the residents and care for them by listening to them.
The medical team has also come to the recycling station to safeguard the health of volunteers.
I have a hot water bath twice a day. The doctor asked me to put on socks in the daytime so that I don't need to take medication. I feel more at ease after coming to see the doctor.
Despite their old age, the volunteers are always happy to do recycling to safeguard Mother Earth. Since I can help them solve their health problems, I feel very happy.
Reminding the recycling volunteers to be mindful of their medication, the doctor hopes to encourage them not to take too much medicine.
Ong Gongming is a TG care recipient in Penang, Malaysia. He had a serious brain injury back in 2012, which led him to have both mobility and speech issues. Although his progress in rehabilitation is slow, his parents never gave up on him. He had even become the local recycling station volunteers. What a great physical therapy method!
Ong Ko Bung, who stumps along, suffered a brain injury in a car accident in 2012. Fortunately, he was able to survive, but since then he has had mobility issues and been unable to speak. His elderly parents insist on taking care of him by themselves and help him with rehabilitation every day.
Taking care of him by ourselves, we feel more at ease. I feel very happy because I can see him every day now. Because of this reason, we will know what is good or not good for him. I feel relieved now.
Although 6 years have passed, Mr. Ong's mother shed tears from time to time.
I was wondering how we could take care of him. We didn't know how to care for him. I shed tears whenever I think about this.
Tzu Chi listed this family as a care recipient. They also encouraged the family to volunteer at the recycling station.
Since last year, we started to invite his parents to do recycling. They go to volunteer at the recycling station on the monthly recycling date.
I feel very happy when doing recycling because I can play a joke on somebody and share joyful stories with everyone here.
Although Mr. Ong's progress in rehabilitation is slow, his parents never gave up on him. Instead, they will always be there to support him.
More Tzu Chi volunteers recently celebrated their 20th branch anniversary with a musical ceremony. The ultimate goal is to be able to raise funds to eventually have their very own Jingsi Hall in Malaysia. Let's all keep their wish in our prayers. See you next time.